Hi, I'm Abby, and I wanted to share a past life with you today. And this is like one of my favorite past lives, and so I think about sharing this one a lot, but I never do. So I'm just gonna do it. I'm just gonna share it. All right. So I've been exploring my past lives for quite some time. I've been exploring reincarnation for quite a long time. So I'm 32, but I really started delving into sort of religion and spirits, just really delving into spirituality, and got really into reincarnation around the age of 19. And so before that, I was raised a Catholic, and I'm going to talk about this in some other videos, but I'll just briefly recap. So, raised a Catholic, went to catechism, did the whole 9 yards, and was fully immersed in that experience, fully immersed in what going to church means to me and means to others, and read the Bible and the whole thing. I'm well aware of what that experience is about. So all the while I'm being raised a Catholic, my dad never went to church, and he was very into sharing memories of a lifetime when he was a Native American. And he used to say, "I'm the Native American, I have a teepee." And I was like, as a small kid, I was like 5 years old or something, my dad talking about being a Native American with a teepee. I was like, cool, let's go, I'm ready, I want to go see your teepee and hang out there. And then as I got older and this story just never ended, I started to get like my dad's saying, he really is saying he's a Native American. Like, this is very confusing to me. And he never went to church, never was baptized, and as I got older, I actually feared that his soul was gonna burn in hell for all eternity, because he was never baptized. He never accepted Jesus. I was terrified for his soul, and I had long conversations with with God and angels and spirits about. I literally battled this in my mind. This was a terrible thing for me at the age of 12. I literally had these long conversations with spirit world about how that my dad will not go to hell. I will not allow it. If he goes to hell, I'm gonna go to hell too. This isn't fair. This isn't right. This was a teaching. This is what I was taught. This is terrible. That's awful. And so that's how I really developed my relationship with invisible people. It was, just trying to make sense of what I believed, and I always felt them. They were always a part of my life. But anyway, that's sort of, as I just sort of developed this sort of understanding that there is no such thing as hell. God, if I could love my dad, then and who was not baptized and who had not accepted Jesus, then God has to accept my dad too. And this is a very long, drawn-out sort of psychological development that I went through. And as I started to think about alien beings, it's like, how is the word of Jesus going to travel into outer space? No, there are no missionaries that can travel to other planets to ensure that alien beings who don't even look like humans, that don't even speak our language, have nothing to do with this planet. How are they supposed to accept Jesus into their lives? Seriously, the whole thing just became a sham to me. And so I started exploring outside of religion, and started trying to understand what this was, that my dad was a Native American in some other lifetime. And that's, I started reading books about reincarnation and all this. So I talk about this in another video. I don't mean to recap a whole lot, so I might just make a card and to share some of this background. So this past life, so obviously I've been exploring my past lives for quite some time, and been exploring religion, been exploring a spirit world, been talking to a spirit world for a very long time. And so this past life, I'm gonna have to tell you. I'm trying to avoid telling this part, but I have to tell you this part. I have this natural need to just rush through things, and I swear it. You have kids, and then suddenly you just don't feel like you have enough time for all the things that you want to do. and it trains you to just like quickly get through things, and so you lose that like natural sensation of of patience. Like before you have kids, you have like this odd, you have more of this sensation of patience, but after you have kids, you just want to like quickly get through things as fast as you can, and then you have no memory. You get memory loss. You can't keep track of what you were doing like a few days ago, just because you're just constantly pushing through life so fast, trying to keep up with everything. And so I'm gonna just slow down, and I'm just gonna tell you this part. So it's important that you know this part. So this is the part where I tell you, well, how have I uncovered these past lives? How have I done it? Well, I'm going to tell you there's quite a few cards on the table to talk about this, because at 19 I was reading these books written by hypnotherapists who have healed people of extraordinary psychological disorders based on allowing them to be hypnotized and taking them to a previous lifetime, and then them actually embracing sort of a complete memory of a moment. And the memory is really kind of coincides with whatever their issue is. So, like, let's say they have like a fear of enclosed spaces, and they developed some sort of disgusting illness along with other people, and they were all quarantined in what is like a cave, and then they died there. Like some sort of sick and twisted past life memory that stayed with them and stayed into the next lifetimes. That it actually takes more than just a lifetime sometimes to release yourself of some of these memories. Seriously, so it could stay with you for several lifetimes before it finally finds its way of funneling out. And that's what fear, that's what terror, that's what nightmares of living can do. Is it can be so loud and so ingrained that it echoes into the next lifetime, and then echoes even into the next lifetime, and just continues to echo until the echo isn't heard anymore. So it can echo for longer than that, and you can call it karma. I mean, is it really fair that you got a disgusting illness and then were put into a cave and shut in there with other quarantined people, and everybody was dying in a dark place? That's terrible. Like but the memory, the shame, the guilt, all the feelings and emotions that are sort of entwined in that nightmare, those create a karmic sort of band with it, and that stays with you, and it stays with you until you can relieve yourself of it. You have to find acceptance with literally everything. That is the truth. And it's not, I'm not a big fan of that reality, because there are things that we have to, that happen in your life, and you literally do not allow yourself to intertwine yourself too much with the nightmare of whatever the experience was, because and spirit world tells me that how you react is actually honest, and you need to just react as honestly as possible. To not fear karma, and to not fear what is the future lifetimes, to not fear what you learn, because that is what the soul chooses. The soul chooses to endure experiences for learning purposes, and it actually wants to create karma to completely cleanse and purify the soul. So what is a soul that doesn't know how to tolerate poverty? It has to go through so many series of lifetimes to explore this from so many different reflective angles, and it needs the human emotions, it needs the responses and the reactions, so that it can continue through a cycle of lifetimes until it can get to a point where it actually can find peace and harmony even in poverty. That's like Mother Teresa right there. A woman who can find peace and harmony in poverty and still love and care for others that are in poverty too. I mean, that is a well-trained soul right there. She was completely in oneness and acceptance with her existence. Not all souls are ready to be completely in oneness and acceptance with their existence, as in poverty or in whatever it might be. And so they say that my humanness is the aspect in me that dislikes this reality. And they say that it comes from so many lifetimes of what is pain and suffering that is stuck with me, and it's like me being like the older sibling, trying to teach the younger sibling, don't do it because it has bad consequences. But then the younger sibling saying, I'm going to do whatever I want. And that is the reality. You have to do whatever you want, literally. But they're telling me that, so I'm sharing this message with you because I found the lifetime to be so beautiful, and I connect with this lifetime regularly. Is something that I've briefly discussed this lifetime somewhere else in all of my videos, just briefly. But I never shared the entire complete lifetime. I never did. Never have, so that's why I wanted to share it with you now. And they're saying this is a very good video for you to comprehend sort of my life story, my development, and comprehend karma from the human mind and from the spiritual wisdom, so you get a balance from both perspectives, so that you can get an honest sort of reflection of what is the truth. So they're saying, okay, because I'm asking them, how I discovered these past lives. They're just telling me to talk about the lifetime, so we'll just do that, and then we'll see what happens. Okay, they're telling me it's because I want to make sure I'm honoring where the lifetime came from, and then I also help human beings to realize that there are so many different ways that you can discover your own past lives. So they're telling me, there are several ways that you can discover past lives. You can discover them through your dreams, and it's not easy, trust me. It isn't easy to remember your past lives. It is not, and they say that it is not because I have been so challenged to remember them, and I've tried so hard to remember them, and they are saying that it was not my time to remember them. And I tried to defy that, and I tried to override that truth, and I refused to accept or acknowledge that the universe would not do this for me, and there was nothing that could be done. I was not in the correct sort of rightness or phase in my awareness or understanding to be able to receive that type of wisdom. And they say that I am ready now to start to remember lifetimes before this one, but I was not ready through all of those years where I was demanding and trying so hard to remember. I kept a dream journal. I would gaze into my eyes in the mirror to watch my reflection change, and would tell the mirror that you will show me myself in other lifetimes, and the mirror never would. And I have a relationship with working with mirrors. Mirrors are the perfect tool for creating literally what is the same as Snow White. You can use the mirror, and the mirror will show you things. This isn't evil. This isn't working with the devil. This isn't. It is if you want it to be. Literally, you can allow the devil to help you work with the mirror if you want. Otherwise, you can say, I want angels to help guide me through my experience with the mirror. Now suddenly the mirror is literally becoming a vibration of love, a vibration of unconditional love, and the experience that you will have with it is also reflective of unconditional love. It will always be a reflection of exactly what you give is what you receive. If you want it to be scary and a nightmare, it will be. If that is what you want, you give to the mirror, then the mirror will give that back to you. So I tried to use a mirror, tried dream journal. I tried to literally just remember. Tried to remember. I went to a hypnotist. It was a terrible experience the first time. It was very, very bad. It was very expensive. I did it when I was in Northern Ireland while I was studying abroad. And I have a recording of it somewhere, and I refused to listen to it because it was so sort of like a terrible nightmare experience, and I was crying, and I was stuck somewhere in a very bad place, and I couldn't get out of it, and I could not get through it to get into a past life. They said that I've been too caked up and full of sort of negative, sort of my experiences have created sort of a layer of, a layer of sticky tar that makes it hard for me to transcend, to experience these things. This was entirely part of the experience. This was entirely what my soul wanted. This is what I chose. This was part of the challenge of me overriding everything to be able to experience my past lives. So there's other ways. You can do it through psychics, which this particular past life, which I'm going to share with you eventually, I will share it with you, came from an awesome past life reader. His name is Anthony Vituna, and I've talked about him in other videos, but he's super awesome psychic, super kind, super very loving human being, very compassionate, very awesome human being. And I've known him for quite a while, and he's been helping me along my path for a very long time. And I mean, he literally has done like freaking so many past life readings. It's almost retarded. I don't it's just ridiculous how many, but how many past lives I know because of him. But he is a super awesome, super reliable source. And I'll put his website out here so you can find him, but totally rely on him for past life information. So the spirit world says that that there's the wheels are turning and the door is revolving, and that that this is now my time to remember. And I have been shown memories recently of other lifetimes, and it was literally. So I have this past life memory of being a super, I can't believe I'm talking about this again already. I just want to tell you about this awesome past life, and I'm just telling you about all these things leading up to this point. Okay, I will tell you. Alright, so my own personal memory of a past life is, it was from medieval days. I recall this very, very really superiorly remember my name as Guinevere, and my expression being a very sort of like a divine woman in a day and age where women were the order of things was changing, and women were to be beneath men, and I was a divine woman, and I had a very superior connection with the infinite wisdom, and with nature, and with creation, and I can feel this sort of vibration about me, and I had a very sacred sort of presence about myself, and it was very disruptive to what was being they were trying to create with society, and that was not acceptable as to be a woman of this sort of expression. And because of fear, because of the need for dominance, men to dominate over women, then I literally was the court system, or whatever you want to call it, that it was decided and ordered that I would be, a sword would be stabbed through me, through my heart, and I was put to death. And honestly, the tragedy was not in the death experience. The tragedy was in dying before the one that I loved, and that was the superior tragedy. And I could feel in the memory, this was not painful for me to experience in my current day form, but I felt, I sensed, I experienced the sensation of what is a thrusting sharp object going through my heart, and it must not have gone directly through my heart, because there was some moments of life, maybe it did, maybe you stay alive even once your heart is pierced for like 10 seconds or something. I could feel the breath leaving me. I could feel blood taste it, and experience blood coming out of my mouth. And I could feel myself sort of evaporating in my connection with reality, and fading away, and the loss of breath, and the loss of life, and sort of the pain of I'm leaving the love of my life was what it was, and a separation, and that was the death. I mean, I remember this. I nobody has told me this lifetime. I remember this lifetime. I was prompted to remember it. But anyway, this lifetime I'm going to tell you now is an alien lifetime that was provided to me by Anthony Vituna, who is an awesome psychic reader. Awesome, very connected, very great with past life readings. You can tell you're getting I call it high frequency because it is vibration, is super loving, super unconditional, super wise, super reliable. You can tell it is super reliable when you feel the alteration in your energy field, when you feel the alteration in your heart. You can read it and say, hodgepodge, phony baloney. But just allow yourself to create an open door to allow the information to just test and see what it does. You just taste it and see how it tastes, You don't have to believe everything you hear. But just to see what happens. Just see what happens when you open the door and say, you know what, I'm not going to say whether this is true or not true, but I'm just going to allow the information to affect me in whatever way it will. And you will find that what Anthony shares with you does alter your perception, does alter your energy field or your emotional body, and it does change you. I'm finally going to tell you this lifetime. So this is an alien past life. What inspired me to explore getting this past life reading was literally that I started to discover that I could alter the future lifetime. I, Abby Turner, have the ability to alter future experiences, and I can alter past experiences. I started to develop this awareness that there are pockets of energy in the universe that were literally left for me by other selves, where I could open the secret door, suck in the energy, and that it would strengthen me and help me survive through whatever I was going through. So I leave little, this sounds like breadcrumbs. I leave breadcrumbs for myself from other lifetimes. That is how superior and profound my soul is, that I do this, and your soul is capable of doing this too. But I started to discover that myself from other lifetimes were interacting with me, and that they had left pockets of energy for me to tap into, like literally, it's a secret zipper, Oh, there, I thank you for that. I have no way of explaining how I connect with this, or how this happens, or how this is, how I'm aware of this. I just am. And so I asked Anthony about this, and he shared this past life where I literally was a superior, profound alien being, and I talked about this in another video very briefly, but I'm going to tell you the whole lifetime this time. So I call this being Mother Egg Self, because she's a giant egg person. She's very large, sort of like an egg shape, like Humpty Dumpty, with very fat sort of stubs for legs and stubs for arms. And because of the body structure, the genitalia is literally in the front, like on the belly. And because they're not structured in a way where it would be in between their legs, so to speak. They're structured in a way where it needs to be in front of each other, so that way it's easier to get it on, And so, but we lived on a planet, Mother Egg Self, I did, and I'm not going to talk about it. I still live on this planet. I still talk to this persona of myself. I don't know how. I don't know how this is. I don't know how to talk about how that's possible. But your soul is always somehow in connection with every single lifetime that you've ever experienced, and you can interact with your past selves and your future selves. And I have done this. And my Mother Egg Self helps me all the time, and sometimes I don't ask her for help, and then weeks later I finally do, and I'm like, why didn't I just ask her for help sooner? Because she helps me like you wouldn't believe. Like I don't even know how she does it, but she is a super expression in the universe. The spirit world is showing me how beyond any human comprehension she is. She literally is so beyond anything you would believe. There's sort of like this green superior light that comes from the top of her head, and she said she has literally a portal and of time. She is connected to all times and all places. And she is also connected with creation to its superior and finest threading. And she is so connected with what are the strings of all creation. All creation that she actually can play harmonies in the strings themselves and send the harmonies through any time and any place and alter even the fabric of reality. She is that superior, and she is all loving, all kind, and does not inflict pain upon anybody. And she knows the importance of life. And I too know the importance of life as she does, because in that video that I made yesterday, talk about pulling the daddy long leg bodies apart. So they're saying that I didn't realize that this flash of energy was actually from her, is what they're saying. That was the nature spirit. That was me reminding me of my love and compassion for all creation, and that is what that is where the altar. That is what happened. See what happens when you talk to the spirit world? You see the types of realizations that you have. So she was reminding me of who and what I am, and I had forgotten because I was in a human body and I didn't know better. I literally did not know better, and she was teaching me from a very young age in order that I would have compassion for all living creations. And she had to do it in a way that would remind me and be loud enough that I would hear it throughout the rest of my life. I still hear it so loud, the memory and the echo and everything. And she did it out of unconditional love. They're talking about unconditional love and people's comprehension of what is unconditional love. Unconditional love isn't just being nice, isn't just always being nice, so to speak. Sometimes you have to teach somebody by being tough love, you know what I mean? So it was unconditionally loving for her to be tough love to me at that point in time, to show me something that would sort of freak me out, but that was tough love. That was why I called it, like in my mind, I called it Mother Nature, and I call it his Mother Egg Self. As she's been a part of my world, she's known about me. This is what I'm talking about. It's weird. There's no separation in the lifetimes. There's no separation. There's no such thing as time or distance. That is the hard part for our humanness to comprehend and understand that. That is the blessing of being human. That is the blessing of our consciousness, is to feel like we are individuals, to feel like there is distance, and to feel like there is time. That is the blessing. When you're a spirit, you do not have that. You do not feel, you know everything. You are part of the infinite. You know everything. Literally, you know everything. And so once you choose to explore what is a physical, dense reality as a human being, and you suddenly don't know everything, and you are confined to what is instinctive nature and the ego and the consciousness and all of the dark energy here, now suddenly you have so many blessings, and your soul can now expand monumentally. It's harder for the soul to expand in bodies where they are connected with the infinite. It is easier for the soul to expand faster when it is connected with bodies who are suppressed, bodies that are not connected with the infinite, bodies that are living based on it as sort of an instinctive nature and an ego, and sort of in a corrupted society. It's a completely corrupted society here. So Mother Egg Self, she lives on a planet that was a dying planet. And the planet was literally, had no vegetation at all, and what would be like a desert world. And there were still some living organisms left before they were going to starve to death, basically. But they were wild dogs, basically, and wild large dogs, and very vicious, starving animals. And so they were roaming the lands looking for what the final remains of food, is basically what it was, starving to death and losing their minds. And she would not destroy these creatures out of compassion, so to speak, for them and their suffering. She knew the importance of allowing their souls to complete that life experience. You don't see that their souls in literally all living organisms possess a soul. Those wild dogs starving to death on this planet, wouldn't you think it would have been kind to put them out of their misery? That is not unconditional love, they say. That is not what she is aligned with, is a superior understanding of the importance of allowing the lifetime to be completed naturally. It's important that she did not kill them out of compassion for their suffering, literally. That was unconditional love for her not to destroy them. And the reason that this was sort of an issue, these wild dogs, is because they were all, myself and all of our kind, were living inside of a mountain. And inside the mountain supplied us with food that would grow along the walls. It was plant life, and we had energy to develop what was a living sun inside of the mountain. And but we could not leave the mountain. We were trapped inside there because our bodies were not. Our strength was in our psychic, literally our psychic connection, our psychic ability. Our strength was there. Our strength was not in our physical forms. Physical forms were very would be easy to be destroyed, and I'm trying to decide where I want to go next with this. So there was this need to collect minerals that were outside of the mountain. And so some of these beings were sort of better suited to sort of physically, genetically, their genetics were just enough that their arms were a little longer or something of this kind. So you have human beings who are really tall and human beings who are really short. So it'd be something of that kind, where it was just a genetic thing where some of them had longer arms or whatever. And so they would be set out, and there would be the wild dog, rabid, starving dogs out there. And as soon as you would leave the mountain, the dogs would just try so hard to eat and destroy. And these beings would go out and try to collect minerals from out there. This was a very slow, long process for this to be done. Because the movement, the body is not equipped to be athletic. The body was not designed to be athletic. It wasn't, and that was how it was designed. And it was designed to be a part of the oneness. It literally to be in a constant state of meditation and connection, and to be sort of a part of creation and the healing across the universe in this state of meditation on a regular basis, where they're constantly flowing things through the strings of creation and creating harmonies and balance throughout the cosmos. And so that's what they spent their time doing. Well, anyway, they had to survive still on a dying planet, and eventually it completely died, and it just would not, they eventually perished. All of them would not be able to make it, because the planet it was time for the planet to go. It was time for the species to end. It was just time. And that was fine. That was perfectly fine. And that was acceptable. Well, anyway, they would leave, and I, who was the supreme one of them all, I was basically the leader, the supreme divine energy of them all. I would send a protective orb of light that would make it impenetrable, and none of these rabid dogs could hurt or harm the versions that would go out into the planet. And the dogs, when they would try to get through the ball of light, they would get zapped, or it would hurt them. It would be like getting stung by an electric eel or something, and it would actually shock them and hurt them. But they were so hungry and so starved, they wouldn't stop. They would not stop trying to get the being on the inside. They were starving to death. They were so hungry. And I think this lifetime is so special and so cool, because we weren't human. We looked different. We had this superior ability. We lived inside a cave. Inside the cave, we created our own sunlight and grew plant life. That is so superior. In this lifetime, I did not kill those rabid dogs. That was the compassion that I gave, was not to kill them. That was the compassion. That's so unorthodox in our human mind to see that as being compassionate. It's just so strange. And so in this lifetime too, I haven't talked about this, I'm getting hungry for breakfast. So it's slowing me down. Okay, so in this lifetime, so many things happened. So I love this lifetime. I love thinking about it. I love exploring every part of it. So Avery the Human Alien, my friend Avery the Human Alien, I talk about him in other videos. And I talk about how he's been a part of my life, how I've been talking to him for many years, and how I've known him in other lifetimes, and one of them being in France, where he committed suicide. Well, he also was one of these egg-shaped beings as a male, and he was there taking care of me, and we even there had a romantic relationship. And it was not uncommon for us to enjoy having sexual experiences with multiple, with more than the same partner every single time, because it is a connection of souls. It is souls intertwining and experiencing a joyful, experience, sexual experience, blissful experience with each other. And there was nothing wrong with that. That was actually part of the joy and the blessing of our experience, to be able to enjoy all the souls that we love, in those forms. And so that's literally what we did. We ate, we meditated, and we had sexual experiences. That's all we did. Like, isn't that? I mean, we lived in a cave with the sun, and the food grew, and we would just pick it off of the walls and eat it, and then get it on, and then go meditate again, and that was what we did. That's awesome. We connect with a violin of creation, and through, allow energy to travel through and affect the entire cosmos. That's how small the cosmos was to us, that we could do those things. And so this mother egg self had an interaction with another version of myself. I hope this isn't overwhelming, but I did. It is weird to me that this has taken place, and I still don't quite understand it. But she had some awareness of some need for this version of ourselves to be interacted with, and that this version would have this specific experience that she had provided it, as she has provided me with specific experiences. See how super she is? It's kind of crazy and scary, but I trust her 100%. But anyway, this very young version of me had found what was a glowing green, sort of a strange box made out of stone. And I took the box home. This is out while I'm just wandering in nature, because 5-year-olds used to do that back in the day. And then they would go back to their homes, and that was totally normal. You could possibly expect 5-year-olds just walk through nature now and then go back home. That just, people don't trust in that anymore. So anyway, so I brought the box home. My parents just sort of disregarded it or whatever. And the box would glow green at night. And finally, this strange event took place where the box started growing green. And there was sort of like a freak out moment. This is going to sound absolutely terrible. The spirit world is like really encouraging me to share this part of the story, which I was not going to, but I'm going to. So the box glows green and creates sort of like a portal, and I get sucked into the box, and the box sort of, as it's closing, it literally smashes the house and my mother and father, and everything sort of implodes or whatever, and my mom and dad die, the house is destroyed, everything. It's a freak out. There's no explanation to what this is or why this happened, but this was entirely important, that this experience was to be had. Only a super being would have a freaking clue why. So only a super being would call it compassion not to kill the starving dogs, And so I had gone through the portal in this box, and that she had manifested into the physical reality, that I, as this version of ourselves, as a 5-year-old girl, would find this manifested box and then take it home, and then this event would take place. So I was sucked into the green light, taken to her cave, where I stood before her and all the other giant egg people, and I was just absolutely terrified, obviously, and I still have no explanation to why this happened. And then in this moment, she takes this green light, and I literally, as a physical manifestation, become light and become absorbed back into creation again. She killed me, basically, but she did not murder me. It was a certain experience that had to take place, and I literally, we are already light. We appear to be dense, but we are actually just versions of light. And in the density, she literally allowed my essence to become light, and there was no pain or suffering whatsoever. It was literally just allowing me to become part of the light again. My dense physical body, just what would be like evaporating, but just altering its consistency to the lightest density, and just becoming light, and that was good. That was perfect. That was amazing. That was exactly what was supposed to happen. How is that possible? How is that exactly what was supposed to happen? You see, when I tell you that Anthony Vatuna is a really great psychic, most human beings wouldn't even, that's not even an option on the table. Like, you can't make that stuff up. I am still trying to comprehend the meaning behind this and why this has happened. She said it was out of love and compassion for existence itself. That memory found me today, so I would, there's an importance in this memory. Not just the life experience, that specific one, but it would travel through all the life experiences to find me today, this version of egg self, and this version of my that 5-year-old child. And she's saying, Mother Eggs, literally, she's saying that I forgot to tell you about part of that reading. Gosh darn, this video is never gonna end. I'm gonna tell you about it. She also had connected with another version of ourselves, and this version was a man, a young man, and on another planet, which was very human-like, and we had very human-esque appearances. She's saying that very, I'm trying to make sense, it is literally like a parallel universe, and this is the only way I can describe what the meaning is. And they looked exactly human, and they had buildings like we have buildings, and they were going through a version of sort of what is our society, and it was the society was destroying itself. This is why we sort of connect with the end of the world, because our souls have also incarnated in other societies very similar to this one, where it is exploring. The universe likes to explore and re-explore and re-explore the same versions, just to see the different outcomes. It is like a calculation, and just to see if the calculation will alter itself. And so in this version of a parallel universe of our world, which is absolutely dying, and people can't breathe, people are struggling, their health is failing, and the world is dying. She found a way to manifest healing for myself and for several followers who had managed to find it because of her, to a water body where we all found rejuvenation and healing because of her. We were completely unaware of why we felt so good, and completely unaware of what was going on, but that was entirely her sharing what is a sort of like flicking a cord, and then the energy, the vibration gets specifically to that planet in that time, in that parallel universe, or whatever it is, and creates exactly the harmonies that created the healing, that created the... She said this isn't hard, this is impossible for our perceptions of what is possible. This is her manifesting, her choosing love and manifesting love in the cosmos. And she manifests love in all different ways, even ways that we would find as a terror and nightmare, is actually as compassionate and loving. And she is not a terror or nightmare at all. But what we would perceive as the mother and father dying in that experience, we would see that as being evil or terrible. But she says that actually was a gift of love and experience, and it was entirely important and essential that took place. She says that the only way I'll ever comprehend it is to enter green, and that is the only way I would ever comprehend it. She said there's a reason why I'm seeing green all the time, because it is important that I align with green and become one with green, so that my humanness and comprehension of creation and the infinite universe can expand. And green is a superior sort of vibration that allows a comprehension beyond the humanness. And green is a super, all the colors have their own special gift that they give us, but green is this color that I keep being, there's a reason why I keep seeing it everywhere, and there's a reason why it was green in the box, there's a reason why I see green coming out of her head, there's a reason why I just painted this green painting, there's a reason why I've been thinking about green so much, and then I've been sharing that green emerald healing video, and she's really saying green is like the superior healing color, and it is a color of creation. I mean, obviously it's part of the rainbow, and the rainbow is part of all of creation, but green is some sort of essential color to sort of the what is my trying to comprehend things, and that is the color I need, is what she's saying. Basically, it's the best way I could describe it or understand it. Let me see if there's anything. So she is reminding me of other times where I've called to her and she's helped me. She says she is part of the oneness and the infinite, that she is not part of that lifetime anymore, that it only appears to be that way because I'm actually, when I visualize her and I visualize that time and place, I'm actually connecting with my own soul and my higher self, and my higher self from that experience with that capability steps forward and then heals me in the way that I request, based on the components of everything that it is that I am connecting with. They say that when you visualize things, you actually connect with exactly what it is that your intention is. Maybe you can't visualize it perfectly the way that it was or whatever, but it's the intention of what you are visualizing that you will always receive. She says that she is not in that lifetime anymore, and that my human awareness still sees or feels like or thinks that she is, but she is not. She has left that lifetime. That lifetime was a very, very long time ago, she says. And she is already pre-programmed, sort of, so it's very strange. When I talk about pockets of energy, she already did that in that physical body. She already manifested all this. She already knew all of this would take place, even this lifetime today. That was how I was prompted to recall and ask for that lifetime, so I would remember. And then I would connect with that version of myself, which is no longer there anymore, but I am connecting with my higher self, basically, is what that is saying. They're saying that that exploring your past lives is so essential. Human beings need to do this. Human beings need to connect with a greater expanded awareness of who and what they are as a soul, who and what exists in the universe. To get outside of the programming that you've always had, to just try something new, to try something completely new. It is literally what would be like an odd fruit that you've never seen or heard of or tasted before, and then choosing either to try it or not try it. Why wouldn't you just try it? I mean, what's the worst that could happen? It didn't taste good, or you just don't like it, or whatever. They say that the more you try the unusual fruits, the more that you are expanding in your awareness and becoming something more than you were before, and that it is so good for human beings to try new things, and to try new things that are potential healers, potentially like superior healing and expanding of the wisdom. And they said that I'm obsessed with expanding my wisdom and expanding my soul, and obsessed with it, and that is why I can't get a sort of the taste and flavor of the expansion that I get from exploring my past lives is incomparable to anything I've experienced in this physical world, and it is sort of an obsession, but because of the flavor is so delicious, I can't get enough of it. And what I'm tasting is the expansion of my soul through the past life awareness, and they say you will also experience this too. This is just like the meditation video I made. And the more you choose to relax or connect with the sensation of peace, the more you the taste becomes so delicious and you crave it, and it becomes part of your sort of need every single day. And that is you needing and choosing to heal yourself and become a part of the oneness and the expansion, is what they say. All right, so I'm done. This is a long video. I'm done. I've shared so much. I have no clue what anybody's gonna think about this. It doesn't matter. it's up to you if you found it useful or if you didn't find it useful. I'm just sharing my experiences, sharing my perception, sharing what I've been told, sharing what I relate to, and then you can do whatever you want with it. So so that is all I have today. I shared 2 videos. That's 2 videos today. 2. That's really good. So I'm going to share this. I'm going to share my meditation video, and then I think that's good for today, unless some crazy thing happens and then I make a video this afternoon. But anyway, that's all, and so thank you for watching, and there will be plenty more videos to come.